Well, well, well. Welcome back to another week of the Dichotomy Diaries, everyone. It's been an intense week between a whirlwind of chaos at work and pulling truly scary hours with this super fun divorce. Your girl is spent. On the bright side, the podcast is, let's just say it's in a very good place. Before we delve into the twisted depths of this episode, as my tradition, I want to offer you a short story. This story is one that has come full circle in a profound and almost magical manner this week. As many of you know, my upbringing was rooted in Roman Catholicism within a lively Chicago Italian family. Picture all the stereotypes you can conjure, and yes, they probably all apply. From baptism to communion, I completed all of my sacraments at St. Gertrude Church in Franklin Park, Illinois. Actually, some of you who might be listening, y'all were there. So shout out to you, my brothers and sisters in Christ. Later, I moved to Huntley, where my parents didn't insist on me pursuing confirmation. For those not familiar, confirmation is the sacrament where one is sealed with the gift of the Holy Spirit, guiding them to practice Catholicism to the fullest. Fast forward, I get married in the church to my longtime boyfriend of 7 years, and shortly after, we part ways. I decide to seek an annulment from the church. After crafting an extensive narrative, gathering witness statements, and sending it off to the Vatican, boom, I'm granted an annulment. Grazie, Papa Francesco. Feeling spiritually supported, I decide at the ripe age of 22 to get confirmed. So what's needed? Night classes? Check. A sponsor? Check. And of course, a confirmation name. You might be wondering, what on earth is a confirmation name, Amanda? Well, I'm glad you asked. According to Catholic.org, it serves a dual purpose. A confirmation name serves as a reminder of our new responsibility as active members of the Catholic community and a tribute to a patron saint whose life we admire. Being the meticulous overthinker that I am, I delved deep into research for probably like 2 weeks and finally settled on St. Lucy. Hence, my confirmation name became Luciana, meaning light. St. Lucy, the patron saint of Sicily, holds significance for my family roots. She's also the patron saint of the blind and a symbol of light in the darkness of winter. Catholicism celebrates feast days for saints, and St. Lucy's falls on December 13th, the winter solstice, the shortest, darkest day of the year. Again, you might be wondering, Amanda, why this crash course in Catholic ecclesiology? Well, here's the connection. In a recent conversation with Italian Batman, a frequent companion in my life these days, shout out to you, we discussed our confirmation names, leading us down a Wikipedia rabbit hole exploring Dante Alighieri and the real-life love story between him and his soulmate Beatrice that bled into the Divina Commedia, aka the Divine Comedy, which, if you don't know, is absolutely the best piece of literature ever written. It's made up of 3 parts: the Inferno, Purgatorio, and Paradiso. So, we're deep in this rabbit hole, right? Reading quotes and planning future tattoos and whatnot. And out of the corner of my eye, I catch a mention of St. Lucy. And I'm like, what? I read on. In Inferno, St. Lucy makes her first appearance as a messenger sent to Beatrice by the Virgin Mary to get Beatrice to send a protector, enter Virgil, to Dante's aid to give him the courage to start his journey through the 9 circles of hell. Devastatingly romantic, huh? What a queen my St. Lucy is. In Purgatorio, St. Lucy carries Dante to the entrance of Purgatory, and furthermore carries him out of literal and figurative darkness, leading him to salvation. Are we seeing where this is going yet? In Paradiso, Dante proclaims St. Lucy as illuminating grace, mercy, and wait for it, justice. Here's where your head's gonna explode, really. Y'all remember what day Dick chose as our wedding day? June 21st, summer solstice, the longest, brightest day of the year. Do you remember why? He said, because I lit up his life. Polar opposite of St. Lucy's feast day of winter solstice. These moments of revelation strengthen my belief in my mission and affirm that I'm on the right path. The choice of St. Lucy, made by a 22-year-old me, seems prescient, considering the darkness life would throw my way. While I may not be the poster child for my faith, I recognize a blessing when I see one. So now that you've had your daily dose of Italian literature, ecclesiology, and Wikipedia adventures, let's dive back into my personal inferno. As always, I'm your host, Amanda Arnier, and this is The Dichotomy Diaries. Okay, so we last left off with my double disappointing February. Super fun. Heart-shaped donuts and last-minute efforts. So, like I do with everything that's disappointing, I just sweep it under the rug. That was the old Amanda. And we move on to just LIVIN. Livin', man. One of the most profound moments, I think, following February was that, again, like always, we are struggling with money, even though we really, shouldn't be at this point, because I now have a job that I decided to get because I could tell things were not being handled as they said they would be. So I get this job. I think I was making like $80K. Work from home. I'm in training, but I'm getting paid. And he's working, right? So we should have ample funds. But here's the thing. I never got to see the funds that were being made from him after this point. It was like, okay, you're making money now, so send me half of the cell phone bill. Send me half of the car payment. Send me whatever, just half of the bills. He actually did say to me, he's like, I got the rent, but you cover this in full, or you cover half of this. And actually, I was paying, I think out of every paycheck, I was paying $600 for our benefits, our health insurance, which was astronomical, a lot of fucking money. But I was contributing a lot of money from my earnings, so much so that I really I didn't have the ability to save, because I always felt like, well, do you have money? And he would say no. I'd be like, do you need money? Because now I have it, right? And I'll just give it to him. Fucking so stupid. But this is a theme. So finances are whatever. I don't even know how to explain it at this point, but they're whatever. I don't know how they are. I know how mine are. I don't know how ours are. And like one day he leaves in the morning or something, and I'm like on a training call, and he comes back and he was like, he has this pamphlet with him, and he's like, I found my new gym. And I'm like, you go to like Lifetime, like it's like the top notch Lifetime. What do you need a new gym? What do you mean? And he's like, no, babe, you don't understand. Like this place is like the shit. Okay, how so, Dick? Please tell me. And mind you, this place is the shit. Like Project Wellbeing in Las Vegas, Nevada is one of the coolest gyms I've ever been to in my entire life. Like state of the art equipment, technology up the wazoo, and they have like a recovery room that has hyperbaric oxygen therapy chambers, red light saunas, and red light beds, as well as like PEMF mats for grounding. I think they have like mineral baths, like they have all the shit. And it's super, super cool. Very chill, not crowded. It's a good place. Here's the thing, when you just got your car repossessed like 5 months ago and you're a degenerate gambler, paying $500 a month for one person for a gym membership is fucking reckless. But that's what he wanted. That's what he needed. He needed this. And I'm like, at this point, okay, I'm just going to tell you, I was done arguing. Like, I'm done. Anything that has to do with money, whether it's gambling, whether it's buying clothes, buying this, buying that, it never was in my favor. Like, and I never fucking benefited from it. But he wouldn't listen to me if I said no. And I had like a rational explanation as to why the answer should be no. It was never a discussion. There was no middle ground. It was always like, nah, I'm going to ask, like pretend like I'm asking, but I'm really telling you. So whatever you say, I don't give a fuck. And you're just going to have to go with it. So I'm like, all right, cool. Do what you got to do. But I was like, I want a membership too. And he's like, well, I mean, it's $500. Yeah, no fucking shit. You just said that, bro. And I'm like, yeah. He's like, well, are you going to go? Yeah, of course I'm going to go. Okay, well then I'll add you on next time when I go there. Wait. So you're saying that you actually already signed up? Okay. All right, this is great. So I think that I like went on their Instagram page and I'm like looking, and again, this place is like very exclusive. It's, top of the line, like in the country, not just in Las Vegas. Um, a lot of the UFC fighters go and train there, NFL players, NHL players. There's just a lot of people. Um, this was the reason why Dick wanted to go there. That's why. Famous people. Because he wanted to befriend famous people. He said this to me. I remember one day being there working out, and I think I went in the hyperbaric chamber, and it was like an hour session, which, mind you, I'm not going to lie. If you have an opportunity to do hyperbaric oxygen therapy, 100% do it, especially if you have like ADHD or like anything with focus and attention. It clears your brain. It's fantastic. It's just time consuming. So if you're going to the gym and you're working out for an hour and then you go in there for an hour, you're 2 hours now at the gym out of your day. So it really has to be like done in the evening if you work full time, like, and during this time I was like training for my new job. So I just remember coming out of the hyperbaric chamber and like seeing him talking to these guys that I would see like there, every day or every other day. And I was like, all right, babe, like, come on, let's go. Like, I got to get back to work, you know? Like, I'm new at this job. I can't lose this job. But we had one car, right? So I'm like, I'm going to get in the car. And I go out there, and dude is talking for like another 30 to 45 minutes. Finally, he comes back out. He gets in the car, and I'm like, Dick, like, respect my time. I have to be back on a call for work. So, oh, sorry. Sure. I'm like, who are you talking to? And he's like, oh, you know, like Joe Schmo, like that's my friend. I don't think so. I've never met him. Never seen you talk to him before. Oh yeah, well he's an NFL player for this team. Okay. So you're pretending in your brain that he's your friend so that you feel like elevated in some way. Gotcha. Okay. So that's the project well-being. So this goes so $500 a month. I think the addition of me on was like 400. So I think in total it was probably $900 a month. Our rent was like 2650. Like, so we're just shelling out the money, you know? Like, and we have credit card debt. Like, there's a lot of things that need to get paid. I had already tapped into two of my 401ks. Like, is anyone going to pay me back for that? I don't know. Probably not. So, we're just again living. We're playing tennis probably like if not every day, every other day. And again, I have to highlight the fact that like tennis was my saving grace time. Like it was, I could get my aggression out. I was good at it. I, in fact, like started to get better than him at it, which I loved. And we didn't have our phones in our hands. So I felt like this was true like connection time for us. We would play like sometimes during the day, but mostly at night. And there was lights and we had our machine, so it was pretty cool. Um, at this point, I actually take over essentially like managing all of his content. So, meaning his OnlyFans, you're able to direct message with your subscribers and then like the posting capabilities. I never got access to like post to Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook strategically. But I would like write posts and put them in a document, and then he would take that document, copy, and paste it onto whatever platform I wasn't allowed to see. But so I take over the OnlyFans, and I'm like, you need to be sending out messages daily. You need to be making posts daily, and because there's like a scheduling capability here, like we should have a month of stuff posted. So you don't even have to think about it. It's a machine. It has technology. Let it work for you. So I can see all of the messages from the beginning of this account. And of course I look. I don't see anything bad. I'm like, all right. So, you know, in case you forgot, I was told when we moved to Las Vegas that my job was to have no job, that I was going to be essentially like the housewife, do the dishes, take care of the laundry, clean the house. Okay. So I'm doing that to the best of my ability, given not being in the best mental headspace. And then on top of that, I get a job because I want to contribute and have some independence back. And I'm doing it. Like occasionally things would be done late, or I would leave clothes, folded on the bed, and he would knock them off onto the floor, whatever. But for the most part, I'm taking care of business and I'm putting stuff away. I'm also getting yelled at because he can never find his stuff. And I'm like, then put your own fucking clothes away. Like, I don't know what you, like, you can't be too, like, you want to hack into my brain and figure out where I put them? I don't know. But I'm like getting yelled at, I can never find this, I can never find that, blah, blah, blah. So I'm like, okay, I have this job. I'm like, but I don't have a hobby. I don't have a hobby. So I remembered going out to that vintage store or at like flea market kind of thing. And I was like, I need to just do this at least once a week. Like, I love collecting books. It's something that I've done in the past that I wanted to continue doing. But it's like, if you're going to collect something, you got to have money. And for me, that went out the window because we didn't have any money. So I think that I started maybe going there once a week just to kind of get out of the house and like clear my brain. And I would pick up a few things if I saw a book that was like relatively priced. And so that felt good to do that and have something that was my own. I had my job. I had my moments of peace, quiet. I don't know. It was like maybe recharging. So I believe that I got a notification that our AT&T bill was overdue because so he had merged his account with mine and I was the official account holder. So I got all the notifications about the billing. I would get notifications that things were getting paid, but then I was also getting notifications like, you didn't pay your bill. I'm like, that's weird. Like, okay. And so I log in, even though like I wasn't the one that was paying these bills anymore. And I see that it's like 2 months behind. And so I don't freak out because this has happened before. And why give it like, I don't know, the reaction that it should have. But I'm like, hey, what's going on? Like, the cell phone bill needs to be paid. And he's like, I think that we should probably get Verizon. And I'm like, okay, well, the cell phone bill still needs to be paid. That doesn't mean that we don't have to pay a fucking bill for 2 months. Like, and I think that our cell phone bill was pretty expensive. Like, I think between just our two phones, I don't know. Oh, I had a watch on it too. And he had like an old iPad he had stolen. It was probably like $350. So he got like $700 of just back pay that needs to be paid. And he's like, oh, let's switch. I'm like, okay, so you'll pay that? I'll look into Verizon, like, if you'll pay that. It's like, yeah. So I look into Verizon, and I think that we both were going to send our old phones in because we were on, like, a next plan. And we were both going to get new phones, so, like, the new 13 Max, I think it was at that time. There was, like, a deal going on where I could get an iPad, and it was all going to be, like, under $200, maybe like $1.75. So I'm like, that's pretty good savings. Like, I'm like, fuck it, like whatever. He's like, fuck AT&T. And I'm like, Dick, it's in my name. You have to pay it. Fuck them. I'm not paying. Fuck them. Blah, blah, blah. Like, it's always he's so angry at the company, but it's like, you used the devices. You signed the bill. Like, you know what I mean? Like, the responsibility is like it's like not a thing. I don't understand it. So that was interesting because I remember going to Verizon and having to get like, he wanted to sign it up under our business so that we would start establishing credit with our business that we ran the content consulting and he was paid to for his adult content. And I'm like, okay. However, they're going to need to take someone's credit like as collateral. They're not just gonna be like, oh, hey, new business that has been around for a year. Let me just give you this line of credit. It's not how it works. So we sit there for like 2 hours and they're like, oh, sorry, we can't. Give me your social, lady. Give them my social. And they're like, okay, we'll take it. Cool. So it was good enough to get a cell phone line of credit, I guess. We started talking about goal setting. And it was like one of those moments where I actually like caught him where he wasn't doing anything. And so he actually like, as we're sitting in bed together, we're coming up with goals together for the next year or for that we want to accomplish before the new year. And as, we're sitting there, he's writing them out. So mind you, these goals were like our family goals. And I think that we came up with 5. The goals were Discover card paid off. 1. 2. Save $40,000 for house. Fucking laughable. 3. Have baby while Amanda is 33. Again, 33 has always been the year that I wanted to make sure I started having children by. Number 4, get Bulldog and St. Bernard. I probably heavily influenced that one, I'm not going to lie. 5, play doubles in a tournament and win. Tennis. So there was only 5, and I remember very, very specifically that we came up with 5, and he was like, yeah, I'm done. And I'm like, we need more. There's a lot of things that we have to do. Like, what do you mean? And he's like, no, I'm done. Okay. He was writing these. All right. Remember that. So, moving forward, you can tell that like something's going on with him because he's trying to spend more and more time away from me. Like he would go to the gym and he wouldn't be like, are you coming? He'd be like, he'd just leave and be like, I'll be back. And then be 3 hours later and okay, he'd come back in a bad mood, which is like kind of rare to go to such a nice gym and spend that many hours and not have this like insane serotonin boost. So you come back and I was like, what's up? And I remember him being like, well, I lost this much money. Okay, thanks for telling me. I'm like, it'll be okay. Like, it'll turn around. Like, I get my check next week. Like, just stuff like that. So stupid. And I thought that, like, I don't remember how this came to be, but maybe there was like an ad or something on Facebook or Instagram, and it was for like one of those like fake slot games, like Cash Tornado or something. And I was like, hey, like, I've been playing this game and it's kind of fun. And I feel like maybe sometimes you just gamble because you are bored if you're like sitting there on camera doing nothing all fucking day. And like, you didn't have any friends. So, like, what was occupying his time? Watching Andrew Tate videos? Yes. Listening to like the opening scene of Batman? For sure. Also ironic. Um, like, I'm like, just here, just play this game. Send it to him. Gets like free coins or whatever. He starts super hyper focusing on this fake slot game. But I noticed that he's spending so much time on the fake slot game that I'm not hearing about losses. And I'm not like checking in on him if he's on cam. And I'm not seeing like the red face, like the, oh, fuck, I just lost a fuck ton of money. Amanda's going to be pissed face. So, like, oh, maybe that was a good idea, you know? But then I see, like, to our business account, like, Apple charging, like, $5.99, $10.99. He's, like, fucking buying tokens in this free game. And I'm like, you know what? It's okay. It's okay. At least it's not thousands. Like, that he's putting his degenerate addictive personality somewhere else, and it's like the least risk for me, you know? So I don't know. I felt like maybe that was a little bit of a win, but he also was like spending so much time playing the game that I'm like, I'm very resentful of him. Like, how do you play a game all day, sit on camera, literally jerk off for people, get paid, like, and I'm out here. I don't even have an office, but I have the real job. I have the 2 degrees, but I don't have a fucking office. I'm working in the middle of like the dining room of our apartment. It's absolutely insane. So I think that the end of this month, I saw that Chicago, the band was coming to Las Vegas. So Chicago is my dad's all-time favorite band. He was in a cover band where he sang, and it's just always been kind of like the music that has connected me and my dad. Well, Chicago also happens to be Dick's mother's favorite band. So, me being me, I was like, hey, Chicago's going to be here. I'm like, they're real old. I'm like, I always wanted to see Chicago with my dad. I'm like, maybe we could invite our parents out and we could take them to the show. And he's like, yeah, that'd be really great. So we ended up reaching out to them. They were like, yeah, we can come in. Okay, so we're like, we'll just make like a night of it. Maybe like my dad and my stepmom will come in. They'll stay with us, and we'll go dinner and we'll do the show. It'll be a fun time. So think that we bought them. I think that we bought the tickets, and they actually were in the very last row on the top, and that's because he bought them. I wanted to get good seats. Like, maybe I'll never see them again. But he was like, I got it. I'll take care of it. At literally the last row. It was a small theater, but still. I'm excited either way. And I'm excited for my dad to come out and see my apartment, like our home, because my dad had not seen any home that I had lived in with Dick. The last home that he saw me live in, it was, back when I was single and living in Gilbert. So I just wanted him to like be there and see that I was quote unquote okay and that I had a life, like, and I was doing okay. As I'm working throughout the weeks, like I had mentioned before, because we had a shared Gmail account and he was always logged into that on our work, I guess, Mac desktop, you could see like what tabs are open. You could see the search history. From my computer, I could literally see in real time like what he was searching and what tabs he had open. And so I start seeing like it say like Chatterbait and then like a girl's name, and I'm like, is this guy like, is he like watching other creators? It's interesting. So I'd like look at his camera and I'd be like, he's not in a show. You can tell like if he's in a show and someone's paying him because it will say like private or blocked or pay or something. So now he's just like watching women on cam or watching like X videos, porn, and just like jerking off just cuz in the office with the door closed. And so this got me on like high alert because I'm like, this is crazy. Like, I'm out here. Like, I work from home. I'm in sweats. I'm your wife. Why wouldn't you just come out here? So I think that I started to like make advances where like I would send him a text and be like, hey, do you have time for a quickie? And he'd be like, yeah, in a bit. And kind of like, like turn me down. But yet I would see like him watching porn. And I'm like, what the fuck? And then I start seeing him looking at like girls like that he didn't know, like their Facebook pages. And I can see, this was the crazy thing. I could see like if it said in the tab Facebook message, like that he had messages open. And I could see when someone sent a message, the tab would be like, Facebook message, Michelle sent you a message. I don't know Michelle who, it doesn't say last name. I can't see the message. All I know is he's messaging with someone named Michelle. Well, don't fucking give me that task as an overthinker. You know what I'm saying? Like, how many Facebook friends could he have? How many Michelles could be in there? I could fucking find the one if I needed to. But I don't think that I spent that much time looking into that. I just, again, would commit the name to memory or a note in my phone for later use. So I'm pretty sure that at this time, my dad maybe had called. My grandpa was going to be 90 back in Illinois. And my dad had either called or texted. And, we were talking. And Dick was like, oh, well, grandpa's turning 90. Like, we got to be there. Like, that's a big deal. So he's like, I'll buy the flights. Like, coming in as the savior. My dad's like, okay, that'll be great. Stay with your mom for a day. Stay with me for a day, whatever. And so I think around the 3rd of March, we flew into Illinois for my grandpa's 90th, where we all got together with my dad's side of the family. We stay with my mom. We go to this dinner with all of the family. And this is like my aunt, my uncle, my cousins, family friends. There's not that many people there, but a decent amount. Dick is not being overly social. I think he talked with my uncle for a little while. He's being nice to my grandpa. My grandpa like really liked him because I remember like Dick and my dad and my grandpa singing together. And, my grandpa's 90 years old and he remembered Dick's name. So he really, you can tell that he liked him a lot, and that made me happy. I'm pretty sure that, again, because we were in Illinois and he can't use like the betting apps in Las Vegas, he's like on full blown like sports betting mode because he can go on DraftKings or he can go on FanDuel. He can do like all the ones he can't do. And I'm pretty positive that we had booked a one-way flight in with the expectation that we would, find a cheap flight to figure out when we wanted to come home. I was working from home, so it didn't really matter where I was. Well, he loses a lot. And we have to buy a flight home because our dogs, are at home and I have a sitter that I'm paying like per day to watch them. And I don't think that the sitter could watch them any further days. And so I'm like, hey, like, we got to go home. And he said, well, what do you want me to do? The flight back home for the two of us is like $800. And I'm like, I did not suggest that we even come here. I know we don't have the money to be traveling just fucking willy-nilly just because. And he's like, I didn't want to come here. This was your idea. I just went along with it, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, how do you like completely change the fact of what happens in your mind so much so that like the conviction that he would give me when he would yell at me, it was so crazy. So I think it ended up being like $800, for 2 flights back, which it sucks. But again, like, you're making the bed, dude. Now you gotta sleep in it. If you want to ball out, fucking ball out, but don't complain about it. You know what I'm saying? Like, so moving on, as has happened in the past, he starts spending more and more time at the gym. And I know you're like, oh, how much longer can he spend at the gym? Like 3 hours a long fucking time. Sometimes I swear to God he would be there for 5 hours. Like, what are you doing? So if he's there for 5 hours, right? Like, he's not working that much. When he does come home, he goes directly into the office and starts working. And then maybe like, so say he would leave at like 9 o'clock and he'd be gone to like until 2 or something. Maybe he'd come home, eat something, or you have me make him food. And then he'd be in the office on cam from like 3 to 7, 3 to 8. So like he wasn't really around me that much. And it's pissing me off like a lot. So I think back to that paired app that we had because I'm feeling like something's going wrong again and we're disconnected and we're not having like real important conversations. Again, I feel like there is no set plan for us. And that doesn't feel good to me because I know what I want our future to look like. But I don't know if he shares the same view because it can change like at any time. You know what I mean? And so I just needed reassurance, as I normally do, like that we're on the same page. Just little check-ins. So we started to use the paired app again, and I just have a few of, examples here. So let's see, this was March 8th. If money were no object, what would your dream job be? I said, barn animal and giant dog rescue haven. Dick said, professional athlete would be my dream job anyway because I love playing sports and being active. Okay. Next one. What food have you never eaten that you'd love to try together? And I'm like, I always wanted to do like our family tradition on my dad's side of making homemade raviolis and whatever. He goes, I feel like if I wanted to try it, I would. I don't know. Okay, thanks for the effort. A for effort, Dick. Where do you dream of going on vacation together? My answer, Italy for our honeymoon, Sicily beaches, wandering the streets of Florence, red wine buzzed. He didn't answer that one. He actually didn't answer a bunch of them. Oh, here's one. What do you admire most about your partner? God, it makes me want to throw up reading my answers. I put your drive, your financial optimism, your superpower to never be anxious. You know why he was never anxious? Because he doesn't give a fuck about anything. How could you be anxious if you don't care? Actions don't have repercussions in his life, you know? His answer was your perspicacity. If you don't know the definition of perspicacity, it's basically penetrating discernment, the quality of having a ready insight into things, vision or intellect which provides a deep understanding and insight. He actually never did miss an opportunity to tell me that like I was the smartest person that he ever dated, which now that I know the girls, I'm like, you're fucking wrong. Like, we're all tens on that level, like tens. But like, if, opportunity to put other people down and boost my ego, he took that. I'm trying to see if there's any other good ones. What do you like to do right after sex? Me, cuddle and be cute until we fall asleep. Him, fall asleep. What's the most fun you've ever had with your partner? I said, EDC with Matt. Aside from that, his friends don't really care to see me or not. LOL, it's all good. I'm too fun for them, I think. They're intimidated. LMFAO. God, that's so sad. He said, not a lot to work with there. No fucking shit, dude. When it comes to arguments, how do you feel about hugging it out? Me. Hugging you makes everything better. Squeezing you, smelling you, literally could cure cancer. I'm pretty sure. Him. LOL. Senseless is my initial reaction, but it's good to be able to do that. So, like, you can tell that, like, I'm really trying. I want to talk. I want to know what's going on in his brain. And he's just like, meh. Okay, LOL, fucking sending the blind guy emoji, making jokes. Like, it's not funny to me, you know? Like, this was my life, and I'm trying to do everything I possibly can to make sure that it's going in the right direction because it's fucking tanked so many times. And it's just a joke. So, at this point, I think it's another good moment to just reiterate that Dick is paying the bills. He's responsible for paying the rent, which he told me I did not need to contribute as long as I took care of the home. Also, I'm working. He's paying the car insurance. He's paying the cell phone. I'm trying to think. Probably paying the credit card bills. And he says he's got that. And so as each new month, as we enter into each new month of, this year of 2023, I'm asking him, like, rent's paid, right? Yeah. Before we go and do anything, spend any money, buy tickets for Chicago concerts, like, rent's paid, right? Yes. Okay. Even sometimes without me asking, there would be like an exclamation of, rent's paid, got that, big deposit and half of it's gone. But at least I felt like, okay, he's doing what he said he's doing. We're not behind. Like, there's this sense of maybe safety or comfort that I hadn't felt in such a long time. And even though that shouldn't feel like comfort, that should feel like the baseline fucking bare minimum that your bills are getting paid. I was like, it's more than he was doing. And so that means it's progress, and that means like we're doing better. So my dad comes to town with my stepmom, and his mom and stepdad come to town. My parents stay with us in the guest room, which meant that was the office, which meant that he had to take like his whole like studio setup and put it in our bedroom, which is weird because there was like no room in there. But it was nice to have my dad around because he was like fixing all the stuff in the house. Like I know for certain he saw the hole in the door and he was like, like even my stepmom was like, that's interesting. Okay, all right. Um, he like hung the TV on the wall, put things up with like brackets that would hold them in place and make sure nothing would fall down. We just had like a lot of like father daughter time, which I thought was excellent. Like there was some time when we would be fixing something together because this is like something I really like to do. My dad really taught me to be very like hands on. Um, and he'd be like, well, like go grab that wrench. And I'm like, I don't have a wrench, Dad. He's like, what the fuck do you mean you don't have a wrench? So we'd go to Home Depot and he'd like buy me a slew of like tools. And he's like, well, now you have wrenches. Now you have pliers, like that was pretty cool. Dick, on the other hand, is sitting in our bedroom, now his makeshift studio, with the door closed, camming, not being social, not like sitting out in the living room with like my parents and talking. And like I'm actually like working and sitting there and talking with them. We were watching like Joe Rogan and like just podcasts, whatever we were doing, just sitting there because the weather was kind of shit. So definitely being antisocial, and I definitely know that my dad and my stepmom noticed, and they were like, well, that's kind of weird because normally when he was in their home he was overly social. His mom and his stepdad came before we went to dinner and the concert to see our home, and they had never met our dogs, so that was cool. I think that I had like the house decorated nice. I think that it was decorated for maybe starting to be Easter. Like I love Easter, so I was putting up decorations early, and I think the house just looked like really good. It was really cleaned. I made sure that I cleaned the fuck out of it before his mom got there because I just always wanted to impress her because she had such a beautiful home. And like I wanted her to know that like her son was living in a home that was up to like her standards, I guess. So we went to dinner with all of them. I think maybe we went to Maggiano's, which was good. Um, and then we went to Chicago. And even though they were, the last row, it was so fun. You guys, like, these guys are like 70 plus years old, rocking out, playing for like 2.5 hours. Here's my dad sitting next to me, and he's belting out songs like he's fucking 25 again. And then I got my mother in law on my left side belting out songs, and her husband. It was a really good moment. And I felt like very close to everyone. Um, it was a good family moment, and I know that our parents actually connected too, which was cool. So before my dad and my stepmom left, I think the last day we actually all went and played tennis together, all four of us, and that was cool. My dad running around kind of like an idiot. He has bad knees, but he like got on the court and he was playing, so that was fun. And then they went home. Following the parent visit, I remember seeing the whiteboard that we had our goals on. It was actually like taken off the wall, and I was like, what the fuck is going on? Like, where's the goal board? And he's like, I took it down. Those goals are stupid. And I'm like, you literally wrote them. What are you talking about? I'm not kidding, you guys. It's actually so crazy. And he's like, we need to make new goals. Okay. Like, that's what I wanted. I wanted to sit down and like do it for real, like the last time, but you like cut it off at 5. He's like, all right, let's do it right now. So these are our new family goals. Mind you, there were 5 before. Go to US Open in New York. Buy 1 acre minimum with tennis court. Have 2 babies. Get Sactional and Lovesac. Spend all of June in Italy with the dogs. Cook dinner together 1 time per week. Alternate planning date night on Saturdays. See a therapist together and alone weekly. Kiss first and last thing every day. Go to one sporting event per month minimum. Go to South Florida and Keys. Visit Napa Valley and Oregon Wine Trail in July. Go to Vegas F1 race in November. Go camping quarterly. Get artist passes for EDC. Get blood work and fertility test by March 31st, 2023. Raw feed dogs. Donate 1 day per month to animal shelter or rescue together. God, these were so fucking delusional. It's so crazy. Oh my God. Upgrade car to Mercedes SUV by 6/23, which would be his 30th birthday. Spend 1 hour per day together without phones or work distractions. Pay off Discover card. The total here, $12,998.08. The limit was $13,000. Practice tennis 4 times a week. Work out 4 to 5 times per week. Save $20,000 to move back to Arizona. Make sound financial choices and be less impulsive. That was mine. Embrace and speak each other's love language daily. And it says here, Amanda, acts of service and receiving gifts. Dick, quality time, physical touch. At the bottom, it says, choose and respect each other every day consciously. Now, I don't know what the time frame was to meet these goals. I know that I for sure wanted to start having children when I was 33, which is coming up super quick and also not going to happen. But I'm okay with that because, like, mama is in her prime, okay? But if any normal person would take a look at this and add up just like the go-to goals, like go to US Open, go to South Florida, go to the Keys, go to Formula One, artist passes, like all this stuff, how the fuck would it be possible to upgrade to a Mercedes SUV and save $20,000? Like, did you are you like, did someone Men in Black flash you so that you don't gamble anymore? Like, I don't understand what's going on. These were just like pipe dreams. And, yeah, we actually wrote them down on like little hearts, actually. I think they might be around here somewhere. I wanted to throw all of them away, but I keep finding like one in like my underwear drawer, and I'm like, I pick it up and it's like, have 2 babies, and I'm like, yeah, these fucking hearts, dude, these stupid goals. Anyways, little vent session there. My phone starts blowing up from debt collectors again. Now, when we moved over to Verizon, I didn't change my number. I've had the same phone number for as long as I can remember. But they're all calling me because everything's in my name. First, at least. Everything is either only in my name or my name is first, his name is second as a signer. So my car payments are falling behind. And I'm like, we have 1 car payment now. Like, yes, it was relatively high because, like, at the time that I decided to buy out my lease, like, my credit wasn't good. My credit's not good at the current moment either, but, like, I feel like there's definitely enough money to be paying the car payment. And if he said that he's in charge of it and he doesn't have the money, certainly he would ask me because I have a job and I need to make sure my car payment gets paid because we only have 1 left because you got yours repossessed, right? Like, it's wild. Also, around this time things start getting like very like fishy with payments to him. So Dick has been banned from PayPal. And I think that this has been like for 10 years, but because he was doing like illegal activities like escorting and stuff like that and using PayPal, he anything that like has his name on it like immediately gets shut down. So if he wanted to get paid via PayPal, he would send somebody like my email address and they would send me money. And I'm like, I don't like this because like this puts me on the hook and like I don't want to get kicked off of PayPal because obviously that would be horrible. People are like paying him for stuff like custom videos. Like there was an option I think on the website where people could order like a 2 minute, 6 minute, 10 minute video, and they would ask him like do this in the video, do this, blah blah blah, and then they would pay, and there would be a turnaround time depending on the time length, and then he's supposed to deliver. Well, he was not delivering on these purchases. And so people are like dinging my PayPal, like requesting money back, like talking to PayPal support, like they never sent me this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm just like, what's going on? Because like the phone calls are coming in. I'm getting like 11 missed calls a day. Are you paying the bills? Like, what's going on with the rent? Like, he's like, we're behind 1 month. And I'm like, but you said like, and he's like, yeah, well, whatever. Just focus on making money and like just stop nagging me. I'm like, okay. He always used to say to me when I would be concerned about finances or like ask questions pertaining to like where things were at with money, um, he would be like, when I was on house arrest, Amanda, I messaged 100 people every day on my Facebook list, so much so that they disabled my messaging. And you know what I would say to them? I would say, hey, I have a fitness program for $10 and 100 people would buy it from me. Do you know how much that is, Amanda? That's $1,000. You could message 100 people a day, can't you? And I'm like, yeah, but like, what am I selling them? I'm not gonna like sell them fitness programs. I'm not a fitness person. You can think of something. Oh wait. So now I'm gonna think of a product to sell a bunch of people in between all the time that I have with my full-time fucking job that is like associate level, not like entry level. It's like I do work, okay? Making your meals, doing all of our laundry, cleaning the house, taking the dogs out, and managing, I forgot even, like, I was managing, I think maybe like 1 or 2 clients with our adult content creation stuff and scheduling out posts for his OnlyFans, writing him content, like, hey, take this kind of picture, do this, like, basically managing him too. Yeah, let me just drum up something, and then find the time to message 100 people. So that's just always funny to me because he always like put me down like I wasn't doing anything constantly when I was fucking doing the absolute most. And he would sit in the office, like if the door was closed, it was like assumed that he was really, really hard at work. And I'm like, bro, sitting on camera, like picking at your chest acne, like because no one's paying you 50 cents to flex your right bicep, isn't hard work. Okay? Like nothing. So again, I can see that he's like talking to like in the tabs and in history, he's talking to girls on Twitter and on Facebook. I see that he like started to look up like different cars to purchase. Like he was like on Carvana, like putting a car like invoice together. And I was like, first of all, Carvana is who took your car. They're never going to let you buy one from them ever again. But also, like, are you looking for a car because you want to escape again? This is how my brain works. This is how your brain will work when you've been perpetually abandoned over and over again, financially abused, emotionally abused, all the things. Like, you're constantly waiting for the next shoe to drop, and that's just what life is. So I remember going into, I think it was like X Hamster, because he also cams on there. Um, and I think that I was like updating the bio or something, or like adding pictures. And there was some messages, and there was like, he was actively like asking complete strangers on X Hamster that maybe had paid him tokens or something, like, hey, can I come out and visit you in California? Hmm. Okay. That's interesting, Dick. So, again, just to remind you, right? Like, my health insurance was being taken out, but it hadn't yet kicked in. Now it's kicked in. It's 650 or so bucks a month out of my paycheck. And I remember him being like, we don't need that. We don't need that. Well, we both got fucking sick, like really sick. So it was me first. I got sick and I was like, I don't know. I think I had like 103-degree fever for like 4 days, super nauseous, like couldn't eat, could not get out of bed. I took off work, and he's like, he basically is like, you're overreacting. Like, I was up all night. When I get a fever, I know I'm not supposed to, but like, I'm so fucking cold that I have to like take a hot bath to like warm up and feel like okay, because otherwise my bones are creaking and I'm miserable. So I'm like taking care of myself. And then he gets sick. And he gets sick and he actually is throwing up. And he's like up all night, face in the toilet. And he's like, I got to go to the emergency room. And I'm like, okay, well, I'm still sick, but I'm not being a pussy about it because I'm on day 4. And like now I'm living with the pain, kind of, that's my MO. And we both go to the emergency room. I think that they gave me like a shot in my arm, swear to God. And they like COVID tested us and it was negative. And I don't remember. I think maybe something was elevated with him, but he was just really dehydrated, so they gave him some fluid and then whatever this shot was. And it ended up being $7,000 for each of us. And I'm like, bro, this is so crazy. Um, I think around this time I started thinking of like being proactive as far as finances were going, and I was like, okay, we have this business, like I want to make sure that at least in this year, like it's March now, that we get like quarterly stuff put together so that when we file our taxes, like we're doing it on time for the business. um and I do all of that and I put it together, but it was for the last year because we were behind, because there was a lot of shit going on last year. Of course we're gonna fall behind. And we were due to, like, we filed jointly and we were due to get like a pretty big refund, which I was happy about because I had filled out the taxes and I knew that that money would come directly to me, so there wasn't an opportunity for him to like get to it, gamble it, whatever. I take the next paycheck after I had done our taxes that I got, and being in this proactive financial headspace for me, because I was like, at this point, I don't know what he's doing, but I know that if I do positive things for us, that it can only be positive, you know? So I took the next paycheck that I got and I basically paid all of it towards the Discover card. So I think it was somewhere around like 2,000 or $2,500. Okay. So I pay that. Then Dick starts talking about like, well, I see that you're making a payment, like that's really good, like we should think of other ways that, the interest is really high, like what if like do you think that your mom would help us out with the credit card and then we could pay her back? So he gets on the phone with my mom and starts like convincing her that she should pay like large lump sums, like $2,500 at a time, to the credit card. And then we would make small payments to her and we would save the interest. Because the interest on that card was astronomically high. I don't even know what it was. It was like probably 20 something percent. So I had just made, let's say, $2,500 payment on the card. Then my mom made a $2,500 payment on the card. And there's available credit. Well, what does he decide to do? He decides to say, well, we need a new TV. We need a robot vacuum. We need to shop at Costco now. And I'm like, if you're putting stuff on the card, you need to pay it like the next day. Not like, don't let it run out a month. Like, no, because we have to pay my mother. And I just spent $2,000 on the card. Like, it's, So I think that he really took the card and really just like brought it all the way back up to where it was. Maybe it was at like 11,000 and not 12,900, but that was really crazy. He also missed the first payment to my mom, and that put me in a really bad place, because then my mom was coming to me like, what the fuck? And you need to pay me. And I'm like, I paid the money to the card. And she's like, well, where's my money? And now I'm having like weird small arguments with my mom. And then she starts to think that something's going wrong. And she's asking me, and I'm like, I don't know, because truly I don't know. Yeah, that was a fucked up time. And like the robot vacuum, he wouldn't even set up. Like, dude, I had to set up the TV. I had to hang the TV on the brackets that my dad put on the wall. Like, I did everything. I just loved the act of shopping and feeling like he had more. So, trying to think, what did we do? Was there any fun during this time? We went to like a vintage market. There was like maybe it was called like Junk in the Trunk or something like that. And I was like, can we go to this together? Like, hey, I want to pick the Saturday date day, like trying to be like, this is your idea, but like, let's do something that I'm planning. It was like pulling teeth to get him there. But then we ended up going there, and he ended up getting more stuff than me. Like, I think I got one vintage hat. He ended up getting like 2 suit coats, vintage, like vintage cufflinks, like all of this shit. And I'm like, oh, this was horrible for you, right? At some point, I noticed that he had removed more photos of me from his Instagram. So like little by little, he's taking some photos off. And because majority of the photos are just of him, like it's pretty easy for me to know out of the 5 in the past 2.5 years if 1 is gone, if now 3 is gone. So I question it. Huge fucking fight. Huge. So he had punched a hole in the door to like the washer and dryer before. Okay. Well, now during this fight, he punched a hole in the door to the office. So there was a hole clear through. Like, so if he wanted to close it to work in there, like he didn't have no privacy. Like I could see right through. He made me so angry during this time when he punched that hole. Because I think before he got up to do it, I was like, do not break anything. Do not break anything. And he hit it so hard. I was standing right by the door, so it was intimidating me again. I lost my fucking shit, dude. And for the first time in so long, I like physically like took the door and I ripped it off the hinges. And I like attempted, it was a heavy ass door. I attempted to like throw it at him. And he looked at me like, holy shit. But also looked at me like, there it is. Like, I forget what that's called, but like when the narcissist just fucking fuels up their victim so much that they get them to react, they love it. Because then they can turn it around and be like, look at you getting mad. You're crazy. You're losing it, huh? Because in that moment, everything that they say to other people about you is kind of true, right? When in reality, you're just like reacting to their mind games and like all of it. So I'm pretty sure that I ripped the fucking door off the hinges and I told him to get the fuck out. And I don't think that he did. Maybe he left for like a minute, but he definitely came back. And I think he apologized, which is kind of like the cycle. I'm sorry, I don't know why I let my anger get to me and like blah blah blah. I need to breathe instead of react. Okay, did you read that online? Are you reciting something like okay, whatever. So remember on the goal thing, one of the goals was that like by the 31st of March, we were supposed to get his fertility examined. I had been asking him over and over again like to just go to a general practitioner, get a physical done, and get like a semen analysis because I just wanted to know like where we were at. Because as the year we're getting close to the middle of the year, right? Like, I know because of science and because of healthcare in my family that like if someone is infertile, it could take up to like 2 years to get that back. And I wanted to just be prepared and know like what we were looking at. Side note, I know that I should not have been thinking about having children with this person. Um, but this Amanda's broken, Amanda. This Amanda, I don't think. No, I'll take that back. I did think. I thought that maybe like a Band-Aid baby would have been a good thing. And I think that I thought that because he was always so gung ho and how about how much he missed his daughter. And I was like, well, if he had a child in his life every day, like wouldn't that make him daily like want to be a better person? That's not how that works, people. Puppies don't fix things. Babies certainly don't fix things. So don't do that. Don't even think that. And if you have done that, I'm so sorry because I'm sure it didn't work for you. Um, so I take it upon myself to like look online and see that there's this place like Legacy or something that you can order like a kit and it comes to the house and you have to like he has to like not like come, I guess, for like 3 to 5 days, which I was like, how is that going to be possible? And that's like your job every day. But he's like, I'll do it. I'll do it. Okay. So that gave him like 3 days off. And so we collected the sample, quote unquote, and he sent it in. And the turnaround time was relatively quick. Like I feel like it came back within maybe like less than a week for sure. And in the time between sending the sample out and receiving the results back, he was being nice. Like he took me out on a date, took me out to dinner. I think he like gave me like $500 one day and was like, "We're gonna go play blackjack at Ellis Island," which again, like gambling, not cool, but quality time away from phones and potential win money. He was teaching me things. It was a bonding moment. So, I think that he took me to like that flea market and bought me a fake purse. Um, yeah, I don't know. Oh, yeah, we went to Italy for the first time, and it was the reason that we went was because he had won a decent amount of money, which that's probably why he was being so nice. And we had to go pick up money from the sports book. And so we went to Italy and we're just like sitting at the bar and the food's good. Like I guess it's comparable to maybe what you would get as far as like pizza goes in Italy, just because it's supposed to be authentic with like authentic ingredients. But um, he was like in heaven and really loved it. And we're sitting there and oh, I want to go to Italy and I want to go here and I want to go there. And there's a lot of dreaming and future faking going on. To continue on with kind of the good mood that he was in, I think that one of his date nights was that we were not gonna go out. We were actually gonna watch a movie or something, and he let me pick the movie, which I often did. And I picked a movie that is called Redeeming Love. And this movie has like a weird amount of symbolism in it. So the movie, and I'm actually just going to read from the Wikipedia here. The plot goes during the California Gold Rush, a beautiful young woman called Angel works as a prostitute in the fictional town of Paradise. Despite being the object of desire for the local men, she survives through hatred and self loathing. Meanwhile, a visiting farmer named Michael prays for God to send him a wife. Later that day, he sees Angel walking through the town and falls in love with her at first sight. So, Michael sees her. She's working in like a brothel whorehouse, and he decides that he is going to pretend like he wants to hire her for sex. He's going to go up there like Rapunzel in the tower and whisk her away and marry her. She is like super against it because like being a prostitute is all she knows. He takes her like back to his land and his farm and his house and all this stuff, and he like nurses her back to health because she's like beat up by whoever. And a bunch of times she runs away and goes and runs back to the whorehouse because she's like, I don't deserve this love from Michael. And he continues to pray to God over and over again, like, please, like, tell me, should I be doing this? You sent her to me and I know this. And he keeps going back and getting her and bringing her back. And eventually she discloses to him that she is sterile because of something that happened, I don't know, in her childhood or whatever. She can't have children, and it's all that he wants. And so he says, that's okay. I love you. God sent you to me. And finally she decides, I love you too, but I'm going to leave because if I stay, you'll never, I love you so much that I'm going to leave so that you can have the life that you want. At the end of the movie, while the credits are rolling, a song plays, and it is a Lauren Daigle song that's called Rescue. And I don't know if you caught the plot there, but it was eerily similar to my life. Prostitute. Trying to save prostitute. Prostitute runs away, doesn't feel worthy of love. Then there's the whole like bout of like potential infertility, and I'm like, oh wow, like this is crazy. So the song is playing and like I'm crying, and I don't think that he's like seeing the symbolism. He probably wasn't paying attention. He probably was on his phone. But I heard the song that the words say, I will send out an army to find you in the middle of the darkness. I will rescue you. And I took those lyrics as in coming from like the Michael guy, the character, like going to rescue Angel, the prostitute. Or so in my life, me, Amanda, rescuing Dick, right? Like these were lyrics that it's making me emotional. These were lyrics that were about somebody who wanted to save another person. That's what I thought. Well, the next day, I think that was probably on a Saturday, as it was. Yeah. The next day, we decided to go to church, and we actually went to Bishop Gorman, which was right down the street from our house. It's a Catholic church. And he initially said yes because he was like, oh, Bishop Gorman, like that's a rich church. Like, but he had never really gone to a lot of Catholic masses, and, it was coming to be Easter, and I thought that it would be just something different because we didn't do Mormon church in Las Vegas. And so we went there, and we walk in, and it's beautiful. And they have a choir, and a lady steps on the stage, and the band starts playing. And what song comes on in church the first time we go to this church? She the lady literally started singing Rescue by Lauren Daigle. And Dick is holding my hand, and we're standing in the pew, and like he's squeezing my hand, and I look over to him, and he's like crying, and I'm like, it's just like a moment that, looking back in that moment, I was like, wow, this is like a sign. Like, this is like God talking to me. Like, everything's going to be okay. Like, you're doing the right thing. You're making the right choices. Like, he being God, but then also like he being Dick sees how much you care about him. And that was a really profound Sunday service. Sorry guys, that's a really emotional fucking story for me. I wrote about it in one of my narrative things on my Instagram. You can go read that if you want. But so that was Sunday. Probably Tuesday or Wednesday of the following week, we got the results back from the fertility test. And the results came back, and let's just say they weren't good. So that was, truthfully, I didn't feel devastated because I assumed this. I think at this point, my notion to all things that were unknown was like assume the worst so that you're not extremely disappointed. And that's definitely like the mindset I adopted for this particular instance. Him, on the other hand, I think that he took it deeply. Didn't outwardly show that he took it deeply, but I think that he took it deeply. And I couldn't tell like if he knew that those results were going to come back that way, or if he was just, I don't know, he was kind of just like a stoic face, like, I'm like, okay, well, maybe you could stop doing steroids and we can just kind of see like how we can supplement this. And he agrees that he will. So it's going to be Easter now. And me being the traditional woman that I am, who's been essentially like cut off from family because I live in the middle of nowhere, don't have friends around. Like I'm like, let's try to do some like traditional stuff. Like, so I go and I get Easter eggs, and he was working, I boiled them all and put out on the table like Easter egg coloring kit, and I thought that it would be fun. And he came out and he's like, "What's this?" And I'm like, "Let's dye Easter eggs." And he's like, "Nah, I'm good." And he just starts being like very like cruel around this time. I would get sad if I would do something nice, and his reaction was what it normally was, which was shitty. And then he would be like, "You're miserable. You don't appreciate anything." He like won't let me come to the gym anymore. And yeah, it was just like again a bad time, and I feel like there's always a trigger that like sets us off, and I think that maybe the fertility test was the trigger now in hindsight looking back. Because I don't remember anything like substantial with money that he had mentioned during this time. We had planned to go to Bishop Gorman for their Easter service, and I know that we had gone out and got him like purple or pink like suit coat, and I got like an Easter dress with flowers, and I was going to wear my hat from that vintage shop. So it's Easter Sunday, which is the following week, and we get all dressed up, and I think we were like, it was probably like 15 minutes until church was going to start. And so I let the dogs out. He was maybe tying his tie or something, and I put my shoes on, and I put like my Easter hat on, and I'm really excited to go because this is the first time like I've been able to like get dressed up, and it's my favorite holiday, like we're gonna have a good day. Church days are good days for the Ostlers. And then all of a sudden I hear someone knocking at the door. And I'm like, I'll get it, you know? So I go to the door, and before I can get down the hallway that leads to our front door, there's something that's like slipped under my door, like an envelope. And I pick it up and I open it. And it's an eviction notice with a statement summary that says, we're getting evicted in 24 hours because we're 4 months behind on rent. Ladies and gentlemen, what a journey it has been. And as we wrap up today's episode, I can't help but marvel at the cliffhanger we've just experienced together. The twists and turns, the revelations, it's like a script straight out of a movie. As we navigate through the upcoming episodes, I want you all to buckle up, because what lies ahead is nothing short of cinematic magic. The story unfolds in ways that will keep you on the edge of your seat, and I can't wait for you to be a part of it. Now, taking a moment to reflect on the profound symbolism in this episode, we delved into the epic love story of Dante and Beatrice, a tale that transcends time, y'all. St. Lucy's role as a guiding light, inspiring Dante to conquer the 9 circles of hell. Now that resonates deeply. And that Lauren Daigle song, it wasn't just about rescuing someone. It was a reminder that in the midst of darkness, God is there, always ready to find you. As I look back at the transformation in my own thought process, I find myself pondering the whys. Why did I assume the role of the rescuer in my marriage? Why did I burden myself with being the illumination in someone else's darkness? Why this incessant need to save others? But here's the revelation. A turning point in my spirit. The weight lifted as I realized that I no longer need to carry the burden of rescuing someone from darkness. I don't have to be the savior, freeing someone from their inherent self. So, as we conclude this episode, I invite you to join me in embracing the freedom that comes with letting go of the rescuer role. The journey ahead promises self-discovery, growth, and a newfound understanding of the power within ourselves. I hope you enjoyed episode 14, Divina Commedia. A huge thank you for your rates, reviews. They have helped this podcast grow in ways you could not imagine. Organically, you guys. Be sure to tune in next week to find out what happens when I confront Dick with the surprise eviction notice I receive on Easter Sunday. Until next time, I'm your host, Amanda Arnier, and this is The Dichotomy Diaries.